Thank you very much, and good morning to all of you. It's great to take this opportunity at the beginning of Research Week to really reflect on some of the achievements from the past year. And it's a year that's been marked by significant growth and exciting wins, some of which are firsts for our university. And these successes have laid the foundation for a future, a year ahead that I'm truly excited about, and I hope you share the excitement with me of what's coming and what we've achieved so far. So I would like to begin by, first of all, sharing a vision for the innovation ecosystem here at CU Boulder. It's a vision that's expanding in scope and ambition constantly, and beyond academic achievement, it's a vision where we aim for CU Boulder to become a dynamic research innovation ecosystem that emanates from our university into the state, in the Front Range, and nationally. And we want to do this with a true commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion as foundational principles to all that we do. So to start off, it is important to look at where we've been, and you've been hearing about these numbers for a while. These are record numbers, $742 million in research funding for the year. It's an outstanding number, one that I'm really proud of. And we can look at how the funding distribution is for our research enterprise. We have about 3.7% from industry, 3.44% from foundation, almost 70% is from the federal government, but maybe a little bit more than that because we have subcontracts flowing through from other primes that are from the federal government. Our lead funding agencies, as historically it's again NASA, and then National Science Foundation, Department of Commerce, National Institutes of Health. So those are all our areas of funding that we're consistently leading with. And we've had these numbers for a while, so we've been celebrating for some time. And we're also looking at already how can we improve, what are the points of weaknesses, what are our strengths, and where we're growing, and so on. So I'd like to share a little bit of that and some of the numbers and where we've grown, where we haven't grown as much, and where we should be looking at for areas of attention. So first of all, we are in an environment, the federal government, that is uncertain at best. And you probably remember last year we've gone through several threats of shutdowns, and those are, although they didn't occur, they have an effect on our funding. Some projects get delayed, some projects don't get funded, and so on. So the funding of some of our lead funding sources have gone down. NASA Science Mission Directorate is one of our top source of funding is being cut, 7 to 8%. The National Science Foundation has received unprecedented cuts of 8%. And so those are reflected in some of our numbers that have reduced in terms of that. But we've also been able to expand our diversify our funding sources, which is also positive in my view. So we have a lot to celebrate. We have a lot of things that we need to continue to look at and analyze and investigate and invest on to make sure that our funding sources and sources of revenue, if you will, are stable and diversified. And the coming year from the federal perspective, it doesn't look particularly great. And so we have to keep that in mind because we are, as you know, heavily dependent upon it and in order to really pursue our mission. Nevertheless, it's been a great year, and I just want to emphasize again our, as we do in these situations, our funding growth over a number of years. And like I said, this has been a record year. This has been a constant growth in funding. I don't have official numbers across the board, but I don't think many universities have grown as much as we have over this amount of time. And perhaps I can think of maybe Arizona State is one that has had a similar curve. I would say you can have similar curves in the lower range of the funding. It's much easier to go from 100 million to 200 million than it is go to 350 to 700. It's a whole different ballgame. It's much more complex as an effort that we have to have as an institution and an infrastructure that we have to have. So the growth last year has been unprecedentedly large. We had a 8.5% growth in research funding, which has been the largest in the last 5 years, and one of the largest in the last 10 years. And so, again, it's a great source of pride. Thank you for contributing to it. It's been an effort, a joint effort, a team effort. It's an integral of many accomplishments through our institution, and we should all be very proud. But to put this in perspective a little more, if you look at 2014, we've grown by 80%. And if you look at 2013, we've grown 110%, meaning more than double the research funding since 2013. Again, we're getting to the top range of the spectrum of research institutions, and the higher we get, the harder it is to maintain this. And I also want to always look at where we stand at the national level, because we need to see where we are as a research institution. And to me, I will never stop repeating this. This being a top research university is part of our identity. We are here because we want to educate our students. We enjoy football. Sometimes we lose by 3 points. But this is really part of what we are as a university. And these are not, these numbers coming, and we try to have as up-to-date numbers as we can. Some are available and some are not. Some report awards, some report expenditures. But this is a good ballpark overview of where we are as a research university. And it's impressive to me because when I grew up as a researcher, I always think of Purdue, I always think of University of Illinois, I always think of MIT as, first thing comes to mind, they're research universities, right? And the fact that we're right in with them, it's an indication of the fact that we are a research university of a top level and top quality. And so I like to convey this to you because we're not just ancillary to our education institution, we're really a core mission of the university, and we're performing as such. And these numbers are a good measure of that for us. And so our standing as a leading research university positions us in a competitive way for prestigious awards and recognition across the nation. We win awards that nobody else wins. And I'll just give some highlights of what those awards are. And by the way, these that I'm going to mention do not necessarily contribute very much to that top number. They are important, they are reputationally very important, but they're not, there may be round-off errors on our $742 million sometimes, but they're not less important to our mission. So one of them that I like to mention is that last year we were awarded, and we're part of the team that was awarded the National Science Foundation Regional Innovation Engine, the Colorado-Wyoming engine on climate resilience. We're one of the team members, one of the leading important team members. It builds on our history on climate science and environmental work and research. And it also builds on our ability to link research to innovations and ventures in climate science. So this was funded at $15 million award for 2 years. This is initial funding. It's up to $160 million over 10 years. And again, we're proud to be a member of that. They've just issued a request for proposal. There were 50 plus applications for contributing to this effort. And the National Science Foundation sees each one of these engines. There's 10 of them across the nation, and we're one of the inaugural awardees. Looks at having a tenfold return on their investment. So they're looking at creating innovation ecosystems that can draw 10 times what they're invested in this space. As you probably have seen in the news, we were part of the consortium that was awarded the Tech Hub was first designated and then awarded as the Tech Hub for quantum science. Not one of the Tech Hubs in quantum science, the Tech Hub in quantum science at the national level. We are the ones that were chosen based on our unique expertise. And CU Boulder, and I should say the consortium, leveraged CU Boulder's tradition of excellence in this space, which is over 60 years. It also leveraged our thought leadership in workforce development, in innovation in the space as well. And it also leveraged our leadership at the state level because our team led the drafting of the legislation and led the legislative process that led to the signing of a bill that unlocked $70+ million in state matching that are contributing to this effort. So without us, we wouldn't be where we are in this space. And so just a little bit more of that. The House Bill 1325 was signed. Again, it was drafted basically by us, and then it was signed in the Gila Tower. This is Governor Polis in that day. And this is the breakdown of the overall funding amount that is devoted to this effort. It's $127 million. The state contributed $74 million in loan guarantees and tax credits that we will deploy, part of which we will deploy to advance our mission here at CU Boulder. And in addition and in parallel to this, we have also led the state in developing a quantum workforce roadmap in quantum science. And again, our leadership is shown there. Again, a little perspective on the state, on our position at the national level when we are looking at these programs, tech hubs and regional innovation engines. I just want to point this out because it's really important to see that we're only one of 6 regions nationally that has received both awards, and we're probably one of 2 universities that contributes to both. So if you look at the locations and regions with the red circle, those are the ones that have received 2 awards, the engine and the tech hub. And we're one of them. And like I said, we're the only other university, LSU is the other university that has both an engine and a tech hub, and then CU Boulder is the other one. So this is a very small group of, I don't want to use the word elite, but top institutions that can attract these type of awards and these type of recognition nationally. So we continue to direct strategic investments in area of opportunities through our strategic initiatives. And Qubit is one that we've been working on and enjoying the fruits of. And then the AB Nexus is one that continues to really provide strong returns on investments. And the National Security Initiative is another initiative that we're really looking forward to contribute more to the nation through our research. And then we're launching the Sustainability Research Initiative that many of you have talked about, and I'll mention a little bit more in a few minutes. But having initiatives like that, campus-wide efforts, enables us to attract awards and recognitions that otherwise single PIs would not be able to bring in. And another example is our receiving the award on a mid-scale infrastructure award, which is the National Quantum Nanofab Facility. This is an NSF award, a $20 million award in infrastructure to basically develop the quantum makerspace of the future. And this will be established as an extension to the SEAL building next door, and it will be basically an advanced fabrication facility for quantum devices. It's an open access facility, and the key word is national. We need to demonstrate that this is a national facility that nobody has that meets a national need. And the team led by Scott Diddams in the picture here was able to convey that notion that this is going to be a unique and national facility. I also would like to emphasize that we were one of 5 universities that were awarded a $39 million up to $39 million award by ARPA-H. ARPA-H is a relatively new agency, and under the NITRO program. So we're one of them. This is an effort to create therapies for osteoarthritis. And when I talk about this, everybody gets excited. This is a very common problem that affects many of us, especially here. It's a 3rd cause of potential disability in the U.S., across the U.S. population. There are not sufficient cures. There are not non-invasive cures. And the ambition for this team and this program is to end osteoarthritis through non-invasive therapies. And this is a great story because this collaboration, the PI Stephanie Bryant, this collaboration started through an AB Nexus award that created the collaboration and the ideas that then emerged as a major effort for our university, and it's a solely Colorado effort. CSU is also part of the team. As dean of the institutes, I think it is important for me to emphasize the importance and the contribution of the institutes to the research enterprise. So together, collectively, the institutes secure 61% of our research funding across the board. And the institutes create a fabric across our research enterprise that is really unique to CU Boulder, in my opinion. That fabric connects academic departments, academic units, our students, our partners internally and externally, especially our connections with the federal labs, is really key. And I just want to put in perspective, the institutes employ almost more than 2,200 research faculty. That's a huge number, considering that the tenure track lines the university has is about 1,200. So when we think about the identity of the university, this is what it means. We have a large group of researchers that work and contribute to all of this. And as also a point of reference, the institutes, you can think of them as somewhat a transversal college to all of them. And we manage through the Research and Innovation Office, we manage almost 130 faculty lines that are directly managed by the Research and Innovation Office. So we wouldn't be where we are in that top group if we didn't have this fabric that the institutes provide. And just as a number of reference, LASP secured more than $200 million of research, which probably would rank pretty high if you ranked universities and took only LASP. And then if you ranked a little higher, if you took a ranking of universities across the nation and included CERIS as well, we would be pretty much up there just with those two institutes. So it's again, the way it's organized is relatively unique to CU Boulder, and I think it's one, I'm a little bit subjective in my statement, but it's one of the major strengths of this institution. So as an example of our impact, the surface dust analyzer, it's a unique instrument that is meant to capture and analyze compounds from the surrounding Europa, which is a dwarf planet in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. It was supposed to launch last week. I just looked, and I think the launch was today, maybe at 12:06 Eastern. Maybe they're already on their way. And they're on their way. So that is great to have that instrument that was designed, built. Well, it was ideated, designed, and built here at CU Boulder, at LASP. And I have a busy slide trying to cover a lot of the accomplishments of the institutes. And you can see the diversity of areas that we're impacting, the fact that the institutes are working on really important problems that we all care about as citizen individuals, from genetics to environmental sciences to the next atomic clock that is 3 or 4 orders of magnitude more precise than what we use for our own timekeeping, to renewable energies, to the companies and startups that are launched out of biofrontiers. And so it's a broad range of spectrum. It's too large for me to even try to give justice to all of them. But the fact that they're working on fundamental research and working on ventures as well shows that we covered the continuum. And that continuum enables us to achieve results of the kind that we've talked about in terms of number of startups that were created last year. And this was mentioned before, but we were able to start 35 startups last year only. And this is a record in terms of numbers. Again, one of the records, one of the measures of our influence. And up to 2023, only Stanford had more in 1 year. They had 38, we're at 35. And we're looking forward to growing those. We were looking forward to growing them, but to make as many of them successful. And that's the really important piece of it. So you might be interested in looking at what the portfolio looks like in terms of industry vertical. And to me, it's interesting to see how it's a fairly diversified portfolio. It's not just one thing. It's not just one area. You can look at sustainability, broadly speaking, is probably the leading area where we have most startups, but medical devices, energy, material science, energy storage, quantum, they're all there, and they're all areas of strength. So these are a sum of, in the last 2 years, 3 years, 57 startups total, and that's a really impressive measure. It's an impressive measure again of our influence, and impressive measure of ability to create businesses here, to provide career opportunities for our students. And and this is the result of multiple years of programming, innovation, new ideas that have come up, programs that are available, and just a couple of success story. One is Mesa Quantum. These are different trajectories of a company in a way, because this was started by a grad student who wanted to probably work in this space and look for opportunities by matching with the technology that they want to launch. And these are cheap scale atomic clocks for autonomous system and oil exploration applications. And so it's different as a process than having, let's say, a grad student or a postdoc in a lab that then gets sort of tasked to go out and launch a company. This is somebody out there that wants to pair up with technology and launch it as a venture. And this is hopefully it's not a unicorn, but it's a very unique, because they were able to secure seed funding in just 1 year, almost up to $4 million, $3.7+ million. And that's an unprecedented trajectory. But it's also something that was built on. They took advantage and were supported by many of the programs that we have, like Lab Venture Challenge, Deep Tech, Ascent Deep Tech, and the I-Core program that we're a site for. Another company that I want to emphasize is Green Steel, where they're looking at waste from steel manufacturing to purify wastewater. This comes out of technologies that comes out of Mark Hernandez's lab, and this is part of a program, the Embark program, that it's probably in the second year, if I'm not mistaken, where our IP is showcased, and then experienced entrepreneur can sort of go in a bid process and get support to help us launch companies. And again, it's a very different model. It's very successful. It doesn't rely again on a perhaps an experienced person that needs to start to really take a technology and launch a venture out of it. And so we're really excited about that, and excited again, this is not just the number of companies, it's trying to make them successful. And they also raised a significant amount of money in a very short time, almost close to $1 million. In the last year, we've accelerated our impact through the establishment and the hiring of Tanya Ennis in Rio. We've accelerated our progress in expanding inclusive approaches to research innovation across campus. This is really important because I said early on, this is foundational to what we do, and we have to really have somebody that can help us through leadership across campus, leadership at the national level, to understand how we can really frame our efforts with a view and a lens on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And there's been a lot of progress throughout this year, and we're very excited on where we are in this space. And in particular, we're excited in the opportunity that we have to lead our campus in this space. We don't want to forget the arts and humanities, because this is really the number that you probably, if you look at that 742, where are they in that number? But they are really, really important in this space and in what we do. And our faculty, we are a comprehensive university, and our faculty in the arts and humanities are contributing and are achieving excellent milestones, and they're securing very competitive fellowships. The latest in time that in 2024 fiscal year is Sima Soy, so that's the one down on the bottom left there, my left, your right, that received a Carnegie Fellowship on a project. I'll read the title, because is We Are Each Other's Magnitude and Bond, A History of Climate Justice from Warren County to Sunrise Movement. This is work that centers the work of Black, Indigenous, Latina, and Asian American women who have been unrecognized in environmental history, but yet have played a leading role in advancing climate justice. And so this speaks to our commitment to climate. It speaks to our commitment to being a comprehensive university that not only is focusing on science and technology, but really at the intersection of those disciplines. I want to spend a little bit of time on thinking about the infrastructure that we need in order to support all of this. And this is an area that it's really important to us. It's really important in the perspective of our growth. It's really important in the perspective of innovation. We cannot be where we are without the support and the infrastructure that we need to provide to our researchers and faculty and students. And so last year we established the Program Management Office. Is an office that's focused on running and managing large programs. And it's been instrumental in the ARPA-H proposal that I just mentioned before, and it's going to be instrumental in many of the projects that we need to secure. I talked about complexity of the research enterprise. This is what we need in order to be able to sustain that complexity. It's also important that our processes are ensuring that we're complying to the regulations and rules, and those processes should not undermine our ability to do research. And we're in an environment where it's highly fluid, as I think of it, from the federal level. We have regulations that come and go. We're always thinking and writing letters about what rules may come down in legislation that will be really problematic for a research enterprise. And we're looking at these regulations, and now we can implement them in a way that, again, it allows us to advance and not get bogged down, yet making sure we're not breaking any of these rules and following regulations. So we've been looking at processes for international engagement with faculty to streamline the process to disclose those affiliations. We've established a task force on research integrity and on IRB, and we're looking at opportunity to streamline those processes. So again, we can be compliant and we can continue the work that we do in a safe way. In research administration, it's really important. Office of Contracts and Grant processes more and more proposals. If you always think my rule of thumb, and I need to check with Alexa later on, but my rule of thumb is that you multiply that number, 742, multiplied by 3.5 and 4, and you get the number of proposals that were submitted every year. And so you can see that the volume of proposals that get submitted and processed is increasing. The complexity is increasing. And so we need to stay on top of what the rules are, what the requirements are, and so on. And our team is involved at the national level so that they can drive the discourse of where this is going. And we're also open to talking about how we do things better internally. We need to grow. We need to grow in an efficient way, in a smart way, so that we can support the increasing volume and the increasing complexity in an exciting way. In this landscape, it's really important for us to talk about AI because AI is becoming pervasive. So it's almost hard for us to say who's doing AI on campus, because it's pretty much everywhere nowadays as a tool. But our researchers are using AI for weather monitoring, for aiding the work and augmenting the work of drones in search and rescue operations, in discovering in healthcare solutions, drug discovery. One of the highlights, and we're recognized for that, is our ISAT, the National Science Foundation Institute on Artificial Intelligence, and we're looking. This is in this 5th year; it's been renewed, and they're looking at augmenting the learning experience of middle school students through AI and AI tutor. And this project is really affecting, in a positive way, literally thousands of students in the Denver metro area, because that's the sponsor requires, is that these solutions get deployed and used to the largest amount of students possible. And it's making a difference. We're also looking at how AI gets deployed through our organization on campus so that it's available. We don't want to say no to it. We want to be judicious, but we also want to make sure that we don't take advantage of the opportunity and huge benefits that AI could bring to how we do research, how we do our work, how do we administer research. And so that is something that we're really engaged. And I would say that the Research Innovation Office leads campus in this space. Another area of leadership for us is we're supporting the chancellor's vision of having CU Boulder become the sustainability university in the nation. Right? He has a very ambitious goals here. As you know, he's as you probably heard, is establish or seeks to establish a position as a vice chancellor for sustainability. I'm chairing that search, but our team has been really engaged in defining what that position should look like and how we could serve the academic, operations, research mission, as well as outreach mission of this role. It's a very vast role, and we're excited to be really part of the conversation at the campus level. We're also very excited to be recruiting an executive director for the Sustainability Research Initiative. This is going to be a position that is going to be centered in Rio, but it will be interfacing when the Vice Chancellor for Sustainability will be recruited and will be on campus, will be interfacing and supporting the vision and the mission of that role. And this has been the process and the vision of several faculty members to really renew our desire to think about how we can wrap around our arms around an area that is so important for us as an institution and to our partners around us. We are a tech hub for sustainability, if you want to call it, or we are a hub more than tech in sustainability. So we really need to think about how we can create an overarching vision that can articulate the strengths and the opportunities that our efforts combined can provide in service of our planet and our society. And so this is one of the goals of the research initiatives. Again, it was in the planning stages for a few months and perhaps more than that. And now we're trying to fill it with a leadership position and then try to grow it and trying to find an area of emphasis. It's my desire for Boulder not to be the one to appearing like, okay, you joined, jump on the bandwagon. Every other university is doing sustainability, come on board, right? We are, because of all the assets that we have from our research institutes, for our academic departments, for our connections with our federal labs, we're very uniquely positioned to really be a leader in this space. And so we need to organize to be such. And so that's really important to us to be in that position. I talked about initiatives, and AB Nexus is one that has consistently overperformed or highly performed in terms, if you think just a return on investment, it's more than 1 to 10. So we've invested more than $4 million. The return on external funding is closing to $50 million. So that's been an exciting opportunity. As I mentioned before, it's positioned us to be ready when opportunities as large as ARPA-H are coming to respond, compete, and win. And so this is an exciting. Just last week, the president, Todd Solomon, announced that he's going to match more our contributions so we can have a bigger portfolio. So he's going to double what the campuses provide. Because he's been hearing great things, because we've been bringing great opportunities and great research through this effort. I think we're evolving into a phase where it's been a lot of top-down collaboration and try to create teams, and this has funded 55 teams over 4 years. And now we're in the process of looking at how can we be more intentional, or where we can combine our strengths in our campus. And quantum, aerospace, national security, and climate are undoubtedly our strengths at CU Boulder, and how we can combine them with the strength at the medical campus in Anschutz. So as an example, a couple of weeks ago, there was a great event, online event, that put together people from here, from Boulder and Anschutz, more than 100 people connected. So there's clearly a lot of energy in looking for solutions where quantum science can solve and address problems related to areas such as um, looking for therapies for cancer, understanding Alzheimer's disease and the onset, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and so on. Those are all areas of strength for our campus, our friends at Anschutz, and we want to look at how quantum technologies in images, sensing, and computing can be deployed to address some of these important problems. You might have heard as well that last year we've launched a new program, and the goal of this new program is try to create new ideas, new teams in areas where we think we can be again leading the way. And the New Frontiers is a is a program that was launched, and it's great collaboration. It's co-funded by College of Arts and Science, Research and Innovation Office, Engineering, and Education. And this program is a two-phase program where we awarded 4 teams with a 50,000 award, and then they're going to sort of compete for. One of them will be selected for a larger award this year. It's going to be in the 200,000 range, and we're going to do it again this year by selecting 4 more teams. We had a very good response last year with 26 submissions and 4 winning teams, and hoping for, from my perspective, for more submissions and make it more competitive. Maybe the teams will not want it to be competitive, but it's important that we have that tension and the opportunity for 26 teams to just come together and think about what they could do together. That's already a great outcome of this program. So these are the 4 teams that were selected. I'll just point to one of them that it's at the top right corner for you, which is led by the Bueno Center in the School of Education, and he has participation from psychology and neuroscience, the Institute of Cognitive Science, and the Renee Crown and the School of Education. It's a project that addresses how to leverage AI tools to mediate and support educational experience of minoritized populations. So again, great interdisciplinary work at a great cause from a social perspective, and a great alignment in our mission of being an inclusive university that creates a sense of belonging. So thinking ahead on quantum, and I'm almost done in my remarks here. We're leveraging the Tech Hub Award and the state funding to effectively create a bridge between what we do here as a university and what a economic ecosystem needs in terms of developing products and finding applications and launching ventures. And this is true for all sectors. There's always a gap in between what the universities do and what maybe a market needs. And in order to really achieve the potential of this technology, we need to bridge that gap. And so in collaboration with the Elevate Quantum Consortium, in order we need to start building that bridge, and we're gonna collaborate with them in developing rapid prototyping facilities and manufacturing facilities as well. And then taking it back a little bit, what we need is an incubating facility. So we're making plans. We're far into the plans of developing a quantum incubator facility here in Boulder. And this is going to be led by us, and we're going to have a consortium with our R1 university partners in the region, CSU and Mines, and will involve obviously some industry participation and NEST as well down the road. So what is this doing is creating an overall continuum of quantum facilities. Just in the last year, combining collectively, we've brought in almost $50 million in funding to create these facilities between the National Quantum Nanofab, the state matching, and so on. It's a unique opportunity that we have, and it's in a sector that we're a national and world leader in. So just to give you the spectrum of funding sources that we're leveraging to develop this bridge, and for those of you who are familiar with technology readiness level in technology, you can map what we're trying to achieve at different stages of development. So at our universities, typically we go from 1 to 3, and then we hand it off to something different to develop prototypes and de-risking some ideas, and then involving some industry partnerships, and then needs to be scaled up all to 9, which is basically a commercializable product. And so our role is going from 1 to 3 and creating a bridge in the 4 to 5 range. And as I said, we're leveraging funding from NIST through our GLO collaboration, National Science Foundation, some of the funding that comes from our university, from the Office of Economic Development at Colorado, and the DDA, Department of Commerce. So just last week, we signed a letter of intent. We're going to locate this quantum incubator in Boulder. It's not on campus. We just signed a letter of intent with a landlord owner, and just we're hoping to finalize. This is a lease facility. It'll be located. This is Flatiron Park. You probably recognize where that is. It's Arapahoe and 55th, broadly speaking. And we're leasing one floor, which is about 13,000 square feet of space. It's almost move-in ready space. It's equipped. It's a lab space equipped. And we're hoping to finalize the lease for 5 years so that we can move in and establish essentially this quantum incubator, which will be an advanced laboratory, open access for early stage startups to really come out of the lab and de-risk technologies, develop a prototype, do early testing of ideas. That's a major challenge for these companies, because the initial investment is pretty high, so it's not something you can start in a garage, and we want to give them a garage that they can work with so that they can develop this. So I'm really excited about this opportunity. It's a way to create what I mentioned. We want to create a lot of startups. We want to empower them to be successful, not just creating them, but we want to empower them to be successful. So this is all I had for you today. I'm incredibly proud of what we have achieved this year, and I'm even more excited of what's coming this coming year. So I'm looking forward to working with you. I'm looking forward to your engagement, and I'm looking forward to what's next. Thank you very much.